Welcome, welcome. Happy August and happy Wednesday for those just joining. We are asking what people are hoping gets launched at convention. What new products are you dreaming of, fantasizing about? So far we've had lots of great ones. We've had garlic, chocolate, laundry sheets, vitamin D3 and K2, dishwasher soap, facial mask, um, castor oil, liquid omegas, and coffee essential oil. Love that. Wow, we've got a creative group here. We need to put this group in touch with corporate and see if we can make some magic happen. Okay. Well, unfortunately, I don't have any insider information for you. Um, so I will be on the edge of my seat with you to find out what gets launched. But I have not been disappointed yet. Um, so Cindy asks, what am I hoping for? I think it's time for a bacon oil. Bacon is an unsung hero. The natural healing properties of bacon have been overlooked, and I think it's time. So its time has come. So anybody else in the same camp as me? Love it. No, I honestly, um, I will be happy with whatever doTERRA puts out. It feels like they are always in touch with um, the needs of the field. I'm loving the moving down the wellness pyramid towards the base and making sure we cover that foundation of, as we call it, foundational wellness. So I'm just excited for what's to come. Um, Natalie wanted to make sure that I make a shameless plug for all of the convention events that are happening. She has been putting in so much time and energy, getting speakers lined up, getting events planned. And so let me just share sharesuccess.com/convention. So, and then I'll rescale so it's easier to see. So check out all of the cool events that we have coming around convention. We've got the Essential Motions Breakthrough Training. And this is one where if you've come to a breakthrough training in the past, this is going to be a whole new experience. We're really moving the emphasis to an experience. And so don't think of it as, oh, I'm going to learn 100% new information. It really is, getting your body in the habit of releasing. So, Natalie and I make it a habit at least 4 times a week of doing different emotional release work. And those are top priorities. Like nothing is more important than that for us. And so that's what the emotional breakthrough training is focused on, is giving you practical tools and giving you the experience of breakthrough so that you can make that a daily or a weekly habit. And then we have doTERRA stuff all in white. And then we've got our business training that afternoon on Wednesday, the 17th. So that goes from 2 to 8. And we just got a video yesterday of the venue. And it's a really, really great venue. Lots of space. It's in the Salt Palace. So super grateful for all the collaboration that's going into that. Then many of you have met Jo Thalstrom. She's come on many of the emotions trainings. She's in the app Move with Jo. So she's doing a sample class that Wednesday evening at 9 p.m. It's going to be really, really great. And then obviously we've got, a lot of teams have their parties. We'll be doing a tour of Temple Square for those who want to get to know the history. Maybe you want to experience the Tabernacle Choir, which is world famous. That is a free event. We just love to show off Utah. We think it's a really great place. So that is the week at a glance. I know that there are other events happening, like Wednesday. I think there's a Symphony of Sales training. Some people are like, whoa, why didn't you do your trainings on Tuesday? I mean, we know we're not be able to we will not be able to hit everyone every time. So we just do our best. And if you can't come to ours this year, come next year. It's going to be, it's on you to choose the highest best good for you right now. So Becky says, do you have an outline for the details of Reimagine Your Business? So we've been working really closely with Lindsay Norman. Many of you heard her speak at Leadership. She was kind of the last stage speaker, and she brought the house down. From the feedback I heard, everybody wished that she would have just been the only speaker at Leadership and would have run the whole event. So she's going to be doing a lot of just going into the nuts and bolts of how she's been so successful in the last couple of years. She's going to maybe do some role plays. We'll have a whole awesome lineup of speakers. In fact, do we have the, so I clicked on, so that calendar that I showed you is clickable. So I clicked on that. So we've got Lindsay, we're going to have Matt Hall, the Bibies, Amy Fulmer, Laura Jacobs, Seth Resume. So it's going to be a great lineup. It always is. We've got, yeah, we do have some cool stuff in the works that I can't tell you about yet, but you're going to want to be there. It's going to be time well spent. Okay. So the Reimagine Your Business is in the Salt Palace. So that's one of the nice things. Wherever you're staying for convention, convention is all at the Salt Palace this year. So you don't need to worry about travel because Reimagine Your Business is in the Salt Palace. And so that page that I was just showing you is at sharesuccess.com/convention. So go check it out and come play. It's always a party. Awesome. Well, I think I've hit the questions that have come up so far. So let's turn it over to you and answer whatever questions you've got as you're moving into a new month, as you're moving into the end of Q2. Hang on. Sorry. This is the first month of Q3. So as we move into Q3, what are your goals for this quarter? What are your intentions? What is it that you're about? What do you want to create? We can talk through your goals, talk through any blocks. Go ahead and raise your hand if you're on Zoom, and we can bring you on live and go through any questions that you've got. Just adding the Zoom link to our Facebook. All right, Stephanie's got her hand raised.
Hello.
Hi, Stephanie.
I recently just got my first true builder because everyone else has just been customers that don't mind me putting people under them. So my question is, what is your suggestion to help build my first real builder?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, well, congratulations. That is worth celebrating right there. How many of you would like to find a real builder? Raise your hand. Yes, that's the dream, right? So, so the question, I guess, is how do you launch them? How do you set them up for success?
Yes.
Awesome. So there are some incredible tools that have been developed by the field, and you don't have to. It takes the guesswork out of building the business. So hopefully you all know about the Empowered Success system. It was created by the field for the field, and I'll just pull up the screen share so that you can, so I can walk you through the tools that I would use to launch a new builder. So this is the answer to your question is going to have a lot to do with the conversations that you had with the builder leading up to their committing to build. So, and this is one thing that Lindsay will be training on at our business training before convention. So definitely want to tune into that. So she's going to talk about the 3 different phases of launching. And one of them, I'm going to see if I have my notes because we were just talking to her the other day. Okay, I don't have them in front of me right now. But basically, the whole prospecting phase that you went through with them is going to inform your launch for them. So let's say that as you were talking to them about the business, they showed some interest and they said, yeah, I might host a class, but that's as far as I want to go. That's a very different launch from, let's say you've just enrolled a a top leader from another company who they have to replace their $10,000 a month income like within 2 months, right? So those are 2 very, very different conversations. And there's probably a whole spectrum of how we're going to engage them and how we're going to best set them up for success. What I call the baby builder, that first one who just wants to host a class, I might just show them the share guide. Okay, so here we are at the Empowered Success website. So you can to find this web page, you just come down to the bottom of any page on doTERRA, and under business education, it's called Empowered Success Training. Okay, so here we are in the so I'm going to scroll down to the very bottom and take you to the tools library, and wow, they've made it really hard to find the share guide. So you can click on this drop down right here and you can click on share guide. If you can aim better than I can. So share guide is basically for a baby builder, someone who's willing to host a class, someone who's willing to share with some friends and family, but they're not sure they want to go beyond that. So the share guide, let's just go through the PDF. So, 3 simple steps: love, share, earn. So start brainstorming some of the people, what are their needs, maybe get clear on your own, help them get clear on their story, so they can, as they share and invite, they can do so effectively. So this just helps them, walk through what this, very, very part-time sharing activity can look like, right? Then, if they want to step up their sharing, and maybe host a class or whatever, here's some resources on planning a class and what that looks like to host a class. So the cool thing about the share guide is it works for wholesale customers and wellness advocates. Wholesale customers can earn free product by sharing, but wellness advocates can obviously earn commissions. And so this page really helps them clarify, you're going to get the same savings on the products. You're still going to earn the same loyalty points, free shipping, yada, yada. But the difference is if you really want to create an income, then Wellness Advocate's where it's at. So this is the first tool that I would share if their interest is light. The next tool is the build guide. So, and both of these, the share and the build guide, would be critical in that prospecting phase, right? You're still talking to them about possibilities. You're talking to them about, what could we create here? And hang on just one second. Over here. Yep, get the pound. Okay, thanks. Sorry about that. So the build guide is if they're showing more interest in maybe supplementing their income or even replacing their income, the build guide is the right tool for that conversation. So let's go ahead and look at that PDF. This one is going to compare this concept of hauling buckets versus building a pipeline, and the value of having residual income. Okay, so notice we're shifting the focus from, getting free product to now making residual income. We reemphasize the value of that. We talk about partnership with doTERRA and how tested, trusted, and established we are as a company. We talk about our customer retention, which is unlike any other, and that makes a huge difference for people if they are building a business, because when we catch them, we keep them. We don't love them and leave them, we catch them and keep them, and that's reflected in that customer retention number. Then we talk about the different levels of income possibility with the ranks, and basically, as I'm showing them these ranks, I'm asking them, which of these makes sense for you in terms of your goals, your family's needs, and where you are right now. And then one of their next questions is probably going to be, well, what kind of time commitment is that going to take? And so I show them page 8 and say, realistically, you could probably build to one of these ranks with a 3 to 10 hour work week. You could build to these ranks with a 10 to 30 hour work week. And then obviously, the higher the rank, the more time they put in. And then I talk about the process. These are the skills that we use in doTERRA, the pipes. Those are the activities of building. And then we start moving into action. So we make sure they have a wellness advocate account. We make sure they have an active loyalty rewards order. And then we start their names list. And the names list, we've got a cool little QR code. They can download the business building guide if they are highly committed. So we've gone from baby share to now builder. Now let's talk about a very, very committed builder. For them, I'm going to take them to the business building guide. Okay, so this is the third tool, and this is the right tool for someone who's all in. They're like ready to say yes. Maybe they've been building for a couple of years and they're like, okay, I'm ready to treat this like a business. I want to get business results. And so show me how to do that. So the business building guide is basically the Bible of our business. It's all the principles that you need to follow to be successful. And it goes into great detail about each of those activities, the pipes, and that's how it's organized with that same framework. But there's also extra stuff, like a whole section on finding builders. And so here are some intro to build scripts. So for those of you who are looking at, how do I get a builder to engage and commit, those are some great scripts for you there. And then I love this page right here on 91. Oh, I can't type in the page number, so we're gonna scroll. So page 91 is the first page of launch builders. And so this would be a great page for you to dive into right now and help set your new person up for optimal success. One of the best things you can do is do some planning. So if let's say that September is going to be their month, they're going to go all in September. We recommend spending 2 weeks in preparation, getting classes planned, getting all the tools in hand, so that they can maximize that launch month. So this is the first part of that timeline. And then here's the second part of that timeline. Weeks, 1, 2, 3, 4 being that launch month. So a realistic goal would be to enroll 15 people during these classes, do the wellness consults, and start placing them strategically for rank and for power of three. And then as you're doing so, inviting people to host and build. I mean, you can read this. This is pretty straightforward. But this is a great tool, and this whole section is launching builders. I mean, there's really not that much to it, but the value of tools is as you're showing people and giving people these tools, you can literally read the words off these page, and then what are they thinking in their minds? I can do this. I can totally do what you're doing. Like, this is not rocket science. So that's why I love using tools so much, because they just they duplicate that mentality of I can do that. So that was a really, really long answer to your really short question.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So part of the reason that I spent so much time on this is part of your job is to not only build belief, and that's what all these tools are designed to do, is to build belief in the product, in the business, in themselves. But also one of the objectives is to give them the right amount of information at the right time. In the past, if anybody showed any interest in the business, we gave them the big old lead guide, and that thing was like 320 pages. It was so overwhelming to so many people. I don't know how many people we actually shut down because we just fire hosed them. We completely just shut them down because they're like, oh my gosh, this business is way too complicated. I can never do this. So the share guide, like 8 pages, build guide, maybe 12 pages. So the business building guide is bigger. It's like 112, but still it's manageable. And so giving people just what they need, just when they need it, is a really important piece. And so now you've got at least 3 tools to help you in that process.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephanie. All righty. That was a great question, and I probably gave a really long-winded answer, but hopefully I see in the chat that Cindy says that was a good foundational review. Thank you. I hope we're using the tools that we have. Yeah, there's so much goodness there. We could spend a lot of time just reviewing all the tools that we have, but those 3, the share guide, build guide, business building guide, they're foundational. All right. What other questions do you have for me today? Go ahead and raise your hand and we can bring you on live, or you can put it in the chat. I love somebody Karina in the chat says, bring your new builder to convention. And I would give a hearty amen to that. We talk about how one of your key roles as a leader, as an upline, is to build belief. And nothing builds belief like big events. We often say that big decisions are made at big events, and convention is no exception. When people are in that room and they're feeling the passion, the collective passion for wellness and for essential oils, and as they see people having success, as they share that passion, they start saying, why not me? They start thinking, I could do that. I see myself in that person. So convention, like if you do have a new builder, if you have a prospect, we often say that convention will probably save you a year of doing the regular activities to build belief. You'll build more belief in a week than you could in a year doing your own events, doing your own, just sharing videos. Even Experience doTERRA is, it's hard to match the power of convention, right? doTERRA spends millions of dollars to bring this world-class event to each of us. So, but I will give a shameless plug for Experience doTERRA. So you can go to experiencedoterra.com and you can see what that's all about. It's basically just a in-person event here in Utah where people can tour corporate. They can get a feel for not only fulfillment, but also the manufacturing. So they get to see the machines that fill the bottles, that mix the blends, and see the labs. And then we come together and we also hear from an executive. It's not usually an owner anymore, but it's one of the top executives. And then we get to hear from leaders. So again, the purpose of this event is to build belief. And this event is second only to convention for building belief in the business, building belief in the product, building belief in themselves. So that one is at experiencedoterra.com. Julie's asking for the link for all the for the pre-convention training. So if you go to sharesuccess.com/convention, all of those events are clickable links. So you just move your mouse over the event, click on it, and if it's the emotions training, click on that. If it's the business training, click on that. Awesome. All right, well, raise your hand if you've got questions, and we'll bring you on live and see how we can serve you. By the way, the Experience doTERRA, we hold that once a month. And so it's not just this one-off, once a year type event. We've got the rest of the year in here. So the next one here is in a couple weeks, August 22nd and 3rd. So you can start planning. I know that if you're traveling in from out of state, like most people do, it does require some planning. So just know that we've got you covered. There's some lots of great planning that goes into this to make that available to you. All right, what other questions do you have? Anybody want to talk through goals or blocks, limiting beliefs? Go ahead and put in the chat what your goals are for August. Go ahead and put in your action-based goal for your doTERRA business in August. Let's just hear from some different people. And maybe your goals are small, maybe they're ginormous. No judgment. Just go ahead and share in the chat. Where are you at and what are you creating in the month of August? All right. We've got Hella saying, looking for ideas to host in-person events. I don't have a big space in my home to invite people. Awesome. Okay. So in-person events, there are about 1,000 different ways to gather. and offer experiences. I would say that's your primary goal, is to offer an experience. In the old days, we would gather and teach people how to reinvent their medicine cabinet, how to take toxic garbage with side effects and replace it with nature's medicine. So many people are getting on board with plant-based nutrition. We taught them how to use plant-based medicine. So that's a message that still rings true to a lot of people. We also have a lot of our team that does spa parties. And so they'll do a spa night where they can gather and just pamper people. They might have foot baths. They might do the hot packs, heat packs on their neck or shoulders. They'll demo the deep blue. Maybe they'll do AromaTouch hand techniques. You can do DIY Epsom salt concoctions. I mean, sky's the limit there. You can do like aroma blends for diffusing. So spa nights is another fantastic way or a reason to gather. Another very popular message that is landing really, really well is a new class that we just put together with Seth Risenmay. It's called Healthy, Fit, and Sharp. Many of you have heard of Dr. Casey Means. She wrote a book called Good Energy, and she is a legend. And so if you haven't read her book, please do. But we've made this PowerPoint available for anybody who wants to. It's only $10. And I just put the link in the chat. So feel free to go check that out. This is a particularly timely message for people in the US. It's all about how our health is not only our healthcare system is broken, but also our health is in the dumpster, and it's getting worse fast. So it's a very urgent message about how we get to take control of our health and do it soon and do it seriously if we're going to affect change in America's health future. So really, really great message. Ties in what she's found with metabolic failure and how doTERRA responds perfectly to the needs. She gives her top 10 reasons for this metabolic cycle. And then doTERRA provides solutions. So great tool there. That's a great message to check out. Okay, so I think we've got some goals here. So Cindy says her goal for August is re-engagement leading up to convention here. Love that. Convention offers so much to our teams. If we can just have a small vision for what's possible, we would be foolish to neglect this opportunity to add momentum to our team, to build massive belief, to get people excited. Maybe for the first time, maybe they're just getting excited again. Convention offers that. So definitely leverage convention. Karina says, I want to teach classes and teach people how to get AromaTouch training certification. Love that. Yeah, AromaTouch is another great reason to gather. It's a simple, duplicatable process for just for feeling great, kind of resetting your whole body and mind. So definitely AromaTouch is a great way to gather as well. Okay, Stephanie's goal is a wellness overview, serving a friend with MRSA type infection. Wow, that's a hard one. So sending prayers to your friend there. Selena is build my leaders to executive. Love that goal. So maybe your goal is premier. If you're helping a couple leaders get to executive, that's a great goal. Be sure to set action-oriented goals around that. So how many people do you need to talk to? How many people do you need to invite to partner and to do the business? So action-oriented goals we've found work better than results-oriented goals. Jen's goal is to utilize the Empower app. Awesome, love that. And Kathy, her goal is to reach silver consistently and prepare well for the Diamond Club. Awesome. That's a great goal. Amy, I have a vendor event at a new enrollments yoga studio on Saturday. Oh, okay. So the yoga studio belongs to the new enrollment. Got it. Crystal Paulson, inviting at least 5 people a day, preparing them to teach classes. That is a great action-based goal. My challenge is that I'm still teaching music classes at my home, and this is the month to get started, so wearing 2 business hats gets overwhelming. Yeah, I hear you. So Crystal, it's going to be really important for you to prioritize what matters most, right? Get laser focused on how can I make sure that I'm getting these 5 invites per day, so that we don't get lost in the weeds. It's so easy to go for the easy things on your to-do list instead of the crucial things. So I'm sure you're well aware and tracking on that. Karina says, how would I invite people to an AromaTouch gathering and what would I do? Who has experience with that? I don't personally. So who'd be willing to share? Looks like Shelly does. She says, AromaTouch training classes here in Las Vegas drew in a lot of builders. Awesome. Shelly, do you want to come on live and share what you're doing? I'm just going to invite you to come on as a panelist if you'd be willing to share. And you don't have to turn your video on. It doesn't matter if you're if we can see you or not. But it looks like you've got the answer to Karina's question about how to invite people to an AromaTouch gathering and what you do at the AromaTouch gathering. Okay, looks like you're still muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, welcome, Shelly.
Okay, welcome. I've got some crazy hair right now.
Okay.
So just for you. So this is how the AromaTouch was really effective in Las Vegas. This was pre-COVID, mind you. But now that we're back to like normality, if Karina can get herself, we had 2 trainers. One was Tracy Prince, and the other one was Joan Kuhn. So we had those 2 blue diamonds that were trainers also. They would oversee, and then me and I think one other person, we would help make sure that there was, and we bring a bunch of tables, and we did them all at Joan's house. And one time we actually did them at one of the studios that the girls had, rented for our trainings and stuff. I would look to the upline, see if there's not any AromaTouch trainers. If not, reach out to corporate and see if there's somebody that's local.
Mhm.
And then see if you can put out a flyer saying come to an AromaTouch class and get pampered, and see how many people show up, because you need bodies. You need, I think we had 8 or 10 people on tables all at once. It was awesome. It was very awesome. And then we would switch, and everybody would, we would run all through, and then we would switch. And then at the end of the class, everybody got a certificate. Now, I don't know if doTERRA is still doing the certificate program at the end, but I think you can do it online. So, yeah, I would check into that part too. But it was very effective, and a lot of builders came out of those.
Shelly, could you speak to messaging that you used when inviting? Because most people don't, the average
Uh,
Joe on the street doesn't know what AromaTouch means. So I love that tagline, come get pampered. What's some other messaging that you used? Um, I
Here
mean,
in Las Vegas, you have to be careful because we have spas, and spas will it's very tricky here in Las Vegas. So you can't say that you're touching people and that kind of thing. Aroma touch for me personally is something that is mind, body, spirit connection. And that is what I spoke to when I was talking to people. Most people don't understand that, but a lot of times you can tell people, hey, it's a really crazy world out there and we're disconnected. A lot of people are disconnected. And when people stop and think about it, they're like, yeah, I really haven't checked in with my own mind or my own body lately. And I think that they're much more aware of that part. So if you can tell them that this is a mind, body, spirit connection process, you'd like to show them and that it's really an amazing thing for people to learn. And it's great for you to teach your kids or to help with your children. It's a great connecting tool for that. It's a great connection tool for couples. I think it's a great connection tool for moms and daughters, all of it.
awesome.
Yeah.
I saw some other questions that came through. Um, let's see. Oh, Karina's saying, do we need trainers now that there's the Dr. Hill thing online?
That I would say, you know what? You probably could get away with running the Dr. Hill thing online. Just do it in a class situation. So put on a video, put a big screen TV on and cast it onto your TV and have 4 tables and have 8 people. So you get 4 bodies on the table and then 4 people that are facilitating. And then maybe you have maybe an extra person there. So maybe a total of 10 people. One that runs the video in the class, one that's helping facilitate all the trainers, and then 4 people on the table. And then you switch.
Awesome. Love that. Thank you so much for sharing.
And as far as the tables go, I've gotten on Facebook Marketplace and found people giving them away, giving them away. Now, I don't know if it's because
Wow.
Vegas, we have a lot of spas, but I would get on Facebook Marketplace. They're $20, $30 for a table.
Fantastic. Yeah, there's really
Yeah.
no excuses, right? Like
Yeah.
it's very, very accessible.
Yep. 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 And and I think that as far as the kits go, you also that was the other thing that I wanted to address is the finance. So people will usually that are coming, they buy the kit up in advance. They pay the $150 or whatever for the AromaTouch kit, and you can they can get the one without the fractionated coconut oil, and maybe you have one on hand so that they can use it, and you can show them why they would need it if they got the kit without it.
Yeah,
But I would definitely try to get them to get the one with it, the training kit.
awesome. Um, Such good information. Thank you so much, Shelley.
No problem. I would also reach out to corporate and see if you're running a class, like if they can send you all the certificates. I don't know how that works anymore.
Yeah, I'm a little bit out of touch with that as well.
You might be
But
able to just download them.
but on Facebook, we've got some people who are um, yeah, yeah, there's lots of good information. Um, okay. On so it sounds like there was some curiosity or questions around um, how do I get people there? How do I get bodies in the room to give the experience? And I just went to ChatGPT and I said, give me some marketing hooks for an AromaTouch class. And it gave me probably 40 really good hooks. So I put those in the chat. It even organized them. Some of them are based on the sensory and experience. Some of them are around the problem solution. Some are the emotional and connection. Some are science and credibility. And some are just curiosity, kind of spark hooks. So go check those out. Hopefully those are helpful. Yeah. hopefully you're leveraging AI to help you make your life easier. I know we sure are. So thank you so much, Shelley, for being so willing and way to make things happen there in Vegas, and find the no excuses approach.
Yeah, you don't have to like wait around. You can do an AromaTouch, and you can also do aroma hand touch or
Yeah.
AromaTouch on the hand,
Yep.
and
Hand
do
technique.
those kinds of classes and maybe spark the interest that way. Maybe have 8, 10, 20 people to, get them to a hand thing, and then you spark the interest for the full-blown AromaTouch class.
Totally. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on, Shelley.
Anytime, even with crazy hair.
Yeah, we don't care about hair. This is the judgment-free zone. And I think you look great. Okay, Karina says, thank you. Thank you so much. I know doTERRA is making some upgrades to the whole AromaTouch system, like the whole, not the oils themselves, but just how it's delivered. So yeah, lots of people have put in the chat, definitely reach out to corporate. I think they're using ambassadors now instead of um, trainers. So yeah, definitely talk to corporate. They will have the answers, and I know they have a lot of resources, people um, to support you as you offer AromaTouch to the world. Okay, Layla, you said you've got a global question.
Yes, I do. I just joined the call and I'm like, oh my gosh, can I ask this question? Because I was
Sure.
on Zoom with a potential customer and she lives in the Dominican Republic. And so I
Okay.
thought I was going through all the steps. And then we got to the shipping address and there was only a US state
Yeah.
that we could choose. So I was on with doTERRA and they said it's not an open market, the Dominican Republic. So what do you do in this
Yeah.
case? As a
Yeah.
new
Great
advocate, I'm
question.
like, this is a new realm for me. So and actually I have another question in regards to that is I have a wholesale customer who lives in the US, but she's not a US citizen, but she would really like to become an advocate and earn income, but that seems like that's a barrier too. So I don't know
Sure.
if those are kind of combined questions of
Yeah.
what we do with this international realm and how to support me as a US resident and
Totally.
and like how do you build in other countries? This is like
Okay,
a
great question. Yeah. I'm sure
thank
lots of other people have similar thoughts and like, maybe interest in building international teams. So let me just share a web page that I put together to answer these types of questions. So you can go to sharesuccess.com/international
okay.
to find this page. And basically, there are links to great resources. Luckily, doTERRA has done a lot of the heavy lifting to translate a lot of Empowered Success into other languages. And then we've put together some videos specifically for Brazil and for Spanish speaking markets. But basically, there are 3 phases um, that markets can be in. So before we do business there, they're considered global access. So basically, anything that's not open or in the NFR phase, which is kind of this in-between phase, we call global access. Now, global access allows us to serve the world. We can literally serve any country. The challenge is doTERRA doesn't ship directly to the customer, and doTERRA doesn't pay the customer directly. So basically, during global access, they just don't have the infrastructure and the systems and the registrations. And so it's on us as the upline to help them work through that. So I think it was Dominican Republic is the one that you mentioned.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
if you've got a prospect in a country like the Dominican Republic, um, you'll need a US address. And let's say that you are willing to ship the product yourself. You can have the product shipped to you, and then you'll just do, if it's a big order, you might need to break it down into small shipments. That's what we did for Brazil for years, and lots of other markets. But that's one option, is for you to do the shipping. Another option is to use a freight forwarder. So myus.com is probably one of the most well known. Basically, you sign up, you set up an account at MyUS, and they'll give you a US address, and then you put in to MyUS where you want your packages forwarded to. And so there is a fee. This is not free, and it's not super cheap either, but this is an out-of-the-box solution, so that you don't have to do the shipping yourself. So you set up or they can set up a MyUS account, and then it'll forward to their address. And these guys cover, gosh, how many countries? Looks like 220 countries and territories. So that's pretty much the whole globe. You can get packages to people through MyUS freight forwarding. So, but this is just one. If you just Google freight forwarding, you'll probably find a couple hundred different options. So freight forwarders, most of them are set up for large scale. What you're looking for is a really small scale option. And you don't want just a US, you want a global freight forwarder. So that's what I would say in terms of getting the products in their hands. In terms of payment, that was another thing you asked. Because when a country is in that phase of global access, doTERRA can't pay them just because they haven't, set up all the tax entities and the registrations. So as their upline, what doTERRA would do is they would run their commissions through you, and you would know exactly how much that is, and then you would take care of payment. And so, you could set up a Western Union, or you could set up, oh, what's that one that we've been using? Just you can Google global payment systems, and you'll find, again, hundreds of options. Gosh, the one is just evading me right now. But like I said, there's 100. So if you've got someone who wants to build in a new market, it's totally doable. But again, global access, it falls on you. So you just need to get creative. Corporate will gladly redirect their commissions through you. The other option is they can accrue an AR balance, and basically they just build kind of an IOU from doTERRA. And if they don't need the money, they can wait until doTERRA opens that market, and then they can cash out their AR balance. So lots of options. Let's see.
And then the second, well, I'm curious if Dominican Republic I don't think that was listed in the one that they're working on. So that is,
Yeah, I don't
there's
think.
there's no forward planning in the near future for that to switch for her.
No, I haven't heard a whole lot of interest
Okay.
in Dominican Republic. So I don't see it on the list of
And
up and coming.
Okay. And then she has an online business. Her husband is US, so maybe being creative in that sense. So a lot of her clients are in the US and Canada. So then I was like, well, this is difficult. If she has a global access account, then okay. So I'll just have to think about.
Well, there's no limitation on a global access account. She can still have a downline anywhere in the world.
Okay.
So she'll still have a back office just like you. She might not have every single tool. Like here in the US, we're spoiled because we have the link generator.
Yeah.
But you don't need a link generator. We all get a replicated website regardless, and so she will too. So
Right.
she might just have to guide people a little bit more on how
Yeah.
to get started. How to choose a kit, choose a product, choose an account type. But it's still a full back office. So there's no limitation in that sense.
Right. And then the only other option is if her husband, being a US citizen, whether that just opens up a different way of her her accessing the account. So then my second question was the one woman who is in the US, she currently has a wholesale
Mhm.
account and she runs a store. So she's on a visa to be able to work here.
Mhm.
But she does want to generate income, but if as a non-US citizen, she can't upgrade to an advocate, is that correct?
My understanding is um, the doTERRA back office just needs a tax identity. And so she'll have that whether she has full, green card, citizenship, whatever. So, so maybe people who are working on the immigration process, they just put in whatever their tax ID is. So I think I forgot the name for the ID, but it's kind of like the visa number or it's a similar type
So
number.
is that calling doTERRA? Because I think when we've clicked upgrade, it just comes up with the social security number to enter, but
You
maybe
can just put in the visa number right there
into the social
in
security
the
number
social
as
number. Yeah.
well. Oh,
Yeah, just because 99% of people have a social security number, that's what's there. But you can put in whatever the entity is. doTERRA just needs to be able to say to the IRS,
yeah.
we are reporting all incomes for everyone, and here's the entity that it's associated with. So
Okay, and she does have a business here, and
yeah,
it's a soap business, and she's making things, and so we have a little doTERRA display, and I want her to be able to
sure.
make money off of it, not just right now. We just have a QR code with her refer a friend link, but I would love for her to be able to have more access. Okay, so then that is possible. Okay, so
Totally.
that helps that question. Thank you, and
Yeah.
work out this other global access piece of it. Thank you for your wisdom, and I'll check out the resources that you have as well. And so
Awesome.
Brazil is just an example of an not an open market. Is
No, I was talking about Brazil because before Brazil was open, we had to do all the shipping ourselves.
got it.
And when I say we, it was mostly, Matt Hall and so many of our leaders who had teams there.
Hmm.
So literally they were filling their minivan, at doTERRA multiple times and every month and then repackaging things and shipping them down to Brazil. So I don't expect that to be a problem you're going to have to face. I was just using Brazil as an example of back when they were in global access, it was on us. We had to take care of the products, the payments, redistributing commissions. So it's fun. There's always challenges, but if you'd like adventure, then build a global team. It's
I know. Okay.
and
Well,
I didn't mention the middle phase here. So
mhm,
NFR is once we have a we might have like our business registered in the country. And during the NFR phase, we can ship and we can um, pay the builders in that market, but um, all the products might not be fully registered. And so during the NFR phase, people just the only limitation is people can't like sell their product in a retail outlet. And so it needs to be a person-to-person model and not like you can't go to Dominican Republic and during the NFR phase, set up spas or
mm,
health stores as your builders. It needs to be person to person during this phase. So that's the only little caveat with NFR.
okay. And then actually, I suppose that just made me think of right now in her shop, which is in the US, we just have a display with a QR code for people to get their own products. But if she did want to have any products that she's selling at retail, how is that done? And we may not have time, I can
Oh, you're fine.
on that question, but I'm curious. I haven't yet ventured into the retail side of things and how to support someone, and if she's ordering differently than wholesale. I feel like I've seen in there like not for retail I don't know if
Yeah,
this
not for
maybe have to
resale.
check.
But I thought that your gal was in the US.
Yes, so this one
Yeah.
is in the US. She has her store, and if
So
she's going to be selling anything at retail, is she supposed to be buying it differently in her
no,
account? Okay,
no, she's totally great. That just applies to countries that aren't fully open yet. So she's in the US, she's in a fully open market, so there's no limitations with what she can do in terms of retail.
okay.
Now,
And
there
then,
are lots of different strategies that people
Mhm.
use when it comes to retail. Um, like making sure that like if she can place the whatever order that she has on display, if she can run that through an LRP, ideally on an account that's at least a year old, then she's already getting the 30% back in free product. And so that's
Yeah,
one strategy that she can use to just get the biggest keystone, the biggest markup for her retail outlet.
true.
Um,
Right. Got
yeah,
it. I understand that. And is that right, though? I feel like I have seen when I've done my own order, there's this little check saying for retail sale or
yeah. So
personal use. So
she would
she
need
needs
to be
to check.
honest about, this is not for personal consumption. This is
Right.
for retail.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
just
And
yeah, for all the
in
taxes.
that regard, if she's going to upgrade with her business ID, would it make more sense to actually have a business doTERRA account so it's in her business's name?
So
Is that
regardless
true?
of whether, so there's not really a business account.
Oh, okay.
You can choose what name you put your wellness advocate account in. But whether it's in a business name or a personal name, there always needs to be a person behind each account. And so,
Okay.
people, get all these fancy ideas that maybe I should have me and then the business underneath me. And it's like, no, 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 just you just put yourself, and if you want to, you can have a business name or a business entity, but there always needs to be a person with a social security number or Visa number attached to a whole wellness advocate account.
Okay. Yay. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I
Great
appreciate
questions. And I saw some other people in the chat who were excited about similar things. So,
it. Super.
okay. There was one last question that somebody was asking about tracking businesses. So I've got Celestine asking, what software do I use to keep track of my organization? I mean, I use the back office. The back office tracks, sales volume. It tracks so I'm not totally sure what you mean. If you're talking about like marketing, we've used probably 100 different services to help with like email marketing, tracking. MailChimp is a nice one, especially as you're getting started. But sometimes they don't love the MLM thing. So anyways, there's oh gosh. Yeah, there's a million different email softwares for marketing, but in terms of tracking, I just use the back office. Sometimes I'll put data into a spreadsheet. Like each of my team's volume, I track in a spreadsheet. Okay, Kathy is asking, do I understand that in Germany, we're not allowed to resell doTERRA products in a shop, pharmacy, or hair salon, not even at the retail price? To be honest, I don't know the exact answer on Germany. I've heard Kirk Jowers say that European the whole EU functions like an open market, but technically it's NFR. So I can't answer that question. I wish I knew. So yeah, Loren is from Switzerland, I believe. So she says you need to ask doTERRA to get specific information on each country because Europe is not one thing. Europe is just this amalgam of 30 plus different markets. It's not one market, it's 30 markets. So, and each country has their own laws. So yeah, check with corporate. Thank you, Loren, for that. As far as the marketing tool, Karina says Flowdesk is great. Yep, we've used Flowdesk as well. It's awesome. Has lots of great templates. So, okay, well, I don't see any more questions. Thank you all so much for jumping on today. Thanks for lifting where you are and liberating those around you. This is the unique opportunity that we have, and we are in the business. We're in the freedom business. So thank you for making others free. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next week.